Hit go live. There we go. All right, we're live. Hey guys, everybody, welcome back. I am excited about this one today because my good friend Radhi is here. He creates hot sauce for a company called FAIYA, aptly named, and the hot sauce is phenomenal. So I'm going to start by saying that. But Radhi, thanks for coming on the show, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us more about you, your story. You know how you got the idea for it. Because I mean, hot sauce is all amazing, but I mean, tell us about the specific stories for each one of the sauces and your story from the beginning.
Yeah, well, so to begin, the idea for the business kind of came like out of boredom, really. So last year in 2020, when the pandemic kind of like started and was, at its peak and like the world closed down and we didn't know what we were gonna do, I decided that I wanted to start like a side business for myself because I was just bored of like the regular daytime job and just being at the house with nothing to do. Well, I do have two kids and they were keeping me pretty busy, but I wanted something extra to do. And years previous to that, I had joined a community garden for Johnson and Johnson because I worked there, and I was planting hot peppers there. And I would just at the end of the season make a bunch of hot sauce and give it away to like my coworkers and friends and family and stuff. And everybody loved it. So I decided to start making something similar, but this time with the idea of actually like pursuing a business. And I wanted to combine my background. I'm Dominican, so coming from the Caribbean, I wanted to combine that background with a hot sauce. And that's where the first sauce came from, which is called Sweet Summer Heat, because being from the Caribbean, where I'm used to, summer the entire year, there's no winter for us. So when the winter comes, I hate it here. And I knew that I wanted to make something that reminded me of home. So Sweet Summer Heat is the name of the sauce, and it has limes, pineapples, and jalapenos, kind of making it like that traditional green sauce, but a little sweeter because of the pineapple and that tanginess from the lime. And it, not like Dominicans eat a lot of hot stuff, but it just reminded me of home, and that's kind of where the whole thing started.
That's awesome, dude. No, that's phenomenal. The one I had was the mango habanero. What do you? I forgot. I don't remember what it's called now, but you know what
What
it's
the
called.
fuego?
What the fuego? It is so good. First of all, mango. I'm from the Caribbean. My family's from the Caribbean as well, so we love
Yeah.
mangoes, obviously. But then I love habaneros as well and spiciness, and that just blends a perfect blend of like sweet and spicy, and
Hmm.
it's awesome, dude. And so I absolutely loved it. So how are things going for you right now? You know, where are you at? Like, I mean, in terms of the business, in terms of what your goals are for right now. I know you mentioned you're in transition right now. You getting everything to the warehouse.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going better than I expected, honestly, for being such a young business. I'm getting a warehouse, probably moving either the end of this week or the week following. Um, Finally moving things out of the house is like a legit home-based business. I'm in my basement right now and I have all my stash next to me. And I so at the beginning of the year, I kept telling my wife, "Hey, like I want to grow in the business. I want to move. I want to do more stuff. I want to be able to bring the products like other places and retail spaces and farmers market." And she pretty much told me to shut up. And she was like, "Hey, I need you just to stop telling me what you want to do and just get it done." And that kind of was like the push that I needed to actually apply for farmers markets. And one day I took the night and I applied for 57 farmers markets, and I got into four of those. And now I'm busy literally every weekend between now and December. So I even hired some of my friends to man some of my farmers markets. I work one, my wife works another, her brother's working one, I have another friend working another one, and I have three other friends kind of like on hold in case I need them to work another market. It's just, it kind of blew up a little bit, and I'm really, really grateful to see how far it's come in such a short time.
No, that's absolutely amazing, man. I love this kind of stuff because you're actually grinding it out, man. You're out there, you're putting your stuff out there, you're trying to get this thing built up, and you're building it from literally you made the sauce from scratch, and you're also
Yeah.
making the business from scratch. And so you actually physically make the sauce yourself right now, right?
Yeah, people hear company, but like you're seeing the company. I am the company. I came up with the name. I designed my own labels, my website, the names of the sauces, the ingredients, the recipes, everything. I do it on my own.
That is amazing. And I don't. I'm not gonna. You don't have to show it, but you described this now, like kind of you're in the basement, but you give us a sneak peek behind the scenes in terms of like what's back there, how much stuff is in your basement right now, and how much you have
Yeah.
to move
I
to
mean, I can
warehouse.
show you. Do you want to see it?
Sure. If you want, yeah,
So
go for
here,
it.
look. These are my shelves, and this is my little shipping station. I have my boxes here that I used to ship, and then the sauces are over again, like over there. And like
Yep.
here's where I ship it from. Like I'm sitting on my desk, and I just have here like my little my label printer, and I do everything right here. And like my wife works next to me because we both work from home now, so it's getting tight. That's why I'm getting the warehouse.
That's honestly amazing, dude. Like you're doing literally everything from your home. I mean, from scratch. I mean, there's some people who just like they do stuff and they have Amazon ship it out or have someone else shipping stuff out. But you're literally doing everything. It's a home-based business. You started from scratch. What was that like? Like when you were starting, like when you were coming up with the idea of FAIYA, right? Like what was that like for you? Like kind of getting everything started, like getting all the logistics in place. Walk us through that process.
See, honestly, it's a little scary to start a business because one, I'm not the first hot sauce guy out there. There's a billion other dudes that make hot sauce. And then the other part is that you're always afraid of how people are going to react to your product. And it's terrifying for me to know that someday someone's gonna be like, oh, your product is shit. Like, oh, sorry. Like, oh, I don't like your product. It's just not great. Like, blah, blah. So it was kind of nerve-wracking to actually start it. I remember posting my first 12 bottles on Facebook. I was like, hey, like I made a couple bottles of hot sauce. If you guys want to buy it, like whatever, like thanks. And then those 12 sold out in like an hour. And then I made 24 and people wanted more. And then I ended up making like 58 bottles the following day and those sold out too. And that's when I kind of realized, oh, like I have something here, like I can, probably pursue.
That's awesome. Yeah, and you described that perfectly in terms of like the way that the way that people feel when they're putting their product out there. Like, what if people hate it? Like, what if people don't like it? Like product, services, those kind of things. What if people don't necessarily like it as much as you want them to, right? You want them to appreciate all, especially when you're putting all the work into it. You want them to appreciate it, right? At least not tell you the bad stuff, right? But
yeah.
I mean, but you did. You're doing it right now, and it's kicking ass. And honestly, for the people who don't, not everybody likes hot sauce. Fine, some people think that water is really spicy, and that's up to them. Now
that you mention that, it's funny. And at my farmers markets and like pop-ups, anytime people go past by my table and go like, "Oh, I don't like hot sauce; it's too spicy," I'm like, "Well, let me change that." And I'm like, I'm going to convert you into the capsaicin club. And I actually bring people to the table because I offer tastings. So the flavors that I have are between like mild and sweet rather than just spicy. And that's something that I like to characterize my product by. I'm not just heat. A lot of companies out there use additives and like spicy like oils, extracts and stuff, and just make like really spicy. I pride in saying that my product has a perfect balance between like flavor and heat. It's not just heat. So like I get a lot of people to come to the table and they actually try the product and end up buying a bottle or two because they actually like it. So I'm expanding. It's for everyone.
I love it. I actually love the capsaicin club. You should make that a thing. That's like
I put it on a t-shirt.
Yeah, there you go. Join the capsaicin club. Done, man. Just like sell t-shirts at the farmer's market too. Anyway, but I digress. I want to talk about the sauce itself because at least What the Fuego. I had What the Fuego. I have the 2 bottles. I'm almost done with both, by the way. And so I'm going to order some more. I actually want to order a bottle of each one. But my point is just seconding what you just said about the flavor, because it's not just hot. I mean, like you said, some things just have. There's hot sauce that I hate, which is like not hot sauce. It's the sour sauce, where it's just like literally like it's just sour. It's not really hot. It's just super vinegary, right? And this stuff is not that at all. I don't taste almost any vinegar, honestly. It tastes like mangoes and habaneros. Like to be honest, there's flavor in it and there's depth, which I think is really powerful, and it's tough to do to pull that off because it's really easy to go too far in one direction or the other. And I think you have at least What the Fuego, the sauce I've tried, has a really good balance. And so tell me what like I don't want you to give away the secret ingredients, but like your process when you're making the sauce, tell us about that. Like kind of how do you make the sauce itself?
There's no secret ingredient. I try to keep it as simple as possible. There's fruit, there's peppers, there's vinegar, there's salt, and that's it. And people ask me, they're vinegar based because I need them to be shelf stable. And rather than adding like additives and preservatives and stuff, I like to keep it as natural as possible. And I use no sugar, no additives or preservatives for all the sauces. And it's just straight up, blending peppers and fruit, and just peppers for the heat, fruit for the flavor, and some natural sweeteners in there, and then vinegar to keep it steady or stable.
Yeah, and it tastes phenomenal, and like it just, I love the fact that it's very pure hot sauce. It's like you said, it's very simple ingredients. It's very pure. The flavor profiles are really there. So before you created FAIYA, because obviously FAIYA is your new favorite hot sauce of all time, right? But what was your favorite hot sauce before this?
Funnily enough, I was not a hot sauce person. Again, coming from the Dominican Republic, like we're not used to eating spicy. I was just getting into like eating Tabasco, and I like the smokiness of the Tabasco flavor, and I would put a little bit here and there. into some stuff, but I didn't start to eat as much hot sauce until I actually started to make my own. And then I realized that there were so many other artisanal vendors out there, and I started buying. I have a whole collection of like 35 bottles of hot sauce in my house right now, like sitting in my fridge that I just from other small vendors like myself and
Hmm.
friends that I've made over the internet. Like I know a couple of dudes who make hot sauce too, and I've never met them in person. We just met on Instagram, and we buy from each other and share like tips of how to make stuff and how to keep growing the business and whatnot.
That's really cool, dude. And so tell us about each one of the flavors and what what the profiles are like. So what the fuego is the mango habanero, right?
Yeah, so that one
And
has mangoes and habaneros. Sweet summer heat has limes, pineapples, and jalapenos. So again, a little brighter and tangier. Also sweeter because the pineapples I use tend to be really ripe. So I like them to be really juicy. Purple Flame has blueberries, serranos, and jalapenos. So it's more people have described it like a blueberry jam that has a little kick to it. So that I use more like a spread. I make a toasted bagel in the morning with cream cheese and just put that on it, and it's perfect. I have one that is seasonal called La Muerte, which means death in Spanish. And it's seasonal because of the fact that I use a Carolina Reaper for those, and I grow them myself. My entire yard right now is literally plant like pepper plants right now. So it's as natural and organic as it can get. I'm planting the peppers, harvesting the peppers, and making the sauce as soon as I have peppers. And then now I just released two new products. They're more like traditional sauces, salsa verde and salsa roja. The green one has tomatillos, jalapenos, and cilantro. And then the red one has chile de árbol, which is a dried version of the cayenne pepper. And then a little bit of habaneros and lemon to make it pop.
that's awesome, dude. Those you're making me hungry just talking about that.
Yeah.
I'm putting in an order now for the La Muerte when you release it. Just give me 2 bottles and I'll
Cool.
pay for it. Obviously, but like I'll pay in advance. So
I'm gonna start pre-orders.
Yeah, I'll pre-order it. That's so cool, dude. So you ship nationwide?
Yes, I've even further out. So it's insane to me to know that my product that I've made with my own hands is out there in the world is insane. I've shipped to the Dominican Republic. I've shipped a couple bottles to Thailand. I've shipped to Japan. I have a
Wow.
couple in Spain, and then in the U.S. like all over really. Like I've as far as like Washington State on the West Coast, L.A., Texas, New Mexico, all over the East Coast. As far as south of Florida, Boston. I'm all over.
That is awesome, dude. And I know you. So you mentioned this actually in the email introduction I made for you. But you're part Japanese.
My grandmother's dad was Japanese.
Okay.
And I didn't find that out until like very late in my life, and I didn't have the chance to like explore that with my grandma. She didn't know her dad too, so like it's just like from her family. Like, I wish I knew his last name because of that. I could probably like track him down and like find out where his origins are from in Japan. But yeah, so I tiny bit percentage of Japanese in me.
That's pretty cool though. I mean, it's really, it seems kind of random. Like DR, you don't know, but you realize how much people traveled around the world and like we're taking all over the place.
Actually, quick story. That was part of a cultural trade between the only dictator the country had, Trujillo, back in the 1930s. He went into power from 1930 to 1961, and he had a trade with Japan. And he sent, I forget how many, like, I think it was like 100 people. So like 100 Dominicans went to Japan and 100 Japanese people went to the Dominican Republic. And then they started like their own colony. So in the north side of the island, there's a colony of Japanese people that have been there for almost a century now. And they
Oh
got like
wow,
spread out to the country. Yeah. So I'm assuming my grandma's dad came from one of those that were over there.
that is actually super cool. And that's now a new trivia question for anybody who wants to throw a little curveball at someone. Trivia question: there are Japanese people in the Dominican Republic. That's pretty cool. And Dominicans in Japan. Are they still the colony in Japan? Are they still there? Do you think? As far as you know, I don't know.
My dad actually has friends out there that live in Japan, and they are like from the descendants from the first family settled in Japan.
Wow, that is I never knew that, dude. That's actually really really freaking cool.
Mm-hmm. It's
so
crazy.
Amazing. Okay, so top 3 things that I'm asking. So top 3 people in your life that were influential in your life in terms of your entrepreneurial journey for you.
My wife, my best friend Matt, and myself. I do a lot of pep talks to myself. I'm like, let's start with my wife. She's very supportive and very like all of my endeavors, she's always behind them, and when I tell her, hey, I think I want to try this, I want to pursue this, she's always there to like back me up and be like, okay, like do it. You want to do FAIYA full time? Quit your job. I'll figure it out. And I'm like, oh, like she's that kind of supportive. And then my best friend, Matt, like he's always talking to me about like he actually gave me the idea for Purple Flame and for another sauce too that I haven't like fully finished, which is gonna be like a chocolate coffee hot sauce that we're kind of working on. So he's like a really big influence in the things that I do. And then myself, because like I like to do the things that I set myself to. I like to push myself and I believe in myself and that I can do the things that I really want to accomplish.
That's awesome, man. And you did the right thing by making your wife the first one, because that's actually that's work in your favor. Because otherwise you didn't. You'd be like, why are you moving last? So, no, that's awesome. That's powerful, dude. And I think what you said is extremely important. Like the pushing yourself thing. People are afraid to get out of the comfort zone sometimes. I mean, get caught. It's so easy to get stuck in our day to day and just be like, this is what it is. I'm just going to accept it and just bite the bullet. And yeah, I have ideas, but who cares? Everyone has ideas. Oh, just let me just keep doing this job that I hate.
It's one thing to have an idea, but it's another to actually put it to work,
Exactly. And look at the work you're putting into this, man. It's amazing. And I seriously, like, I'm super impressed, and I'm really glad and happy to be able to highlight you and get your name out there as much as possible. And like I told you before, anything I can do, man, I'm happy to help promote as much as I can, because the fucking product is awesome. But I'm a huge fan of the hustle, though, man. I appreciate the fact that you're out there doing this thing, and you got your family in there helping you. You got your friends. That's the way to do it. You recruit people around you. I say all the time, if there's a there's a will, there's a way, right? You'll create the way to get things done, and you're doing that right now. So kudos to you, man. That's freaking phenomenal. Any last minute thoughts you want to share with folks about anything important you want people to know about you, about FAIYA, about the future of FAIYA, or anything?
We haven't talked about the philanthropic side of FAIYA.
Yes, please.
Part of the influence that came from my parents, actually. So I grew up seeing my dad specifically. When someone was like, asking for money on the streets or whatever, he'd ask, "What do you need money for? What is it that you want?" And you'd be surprised how many people are very honest about it and go like, "Oh, I just need to buy drugs," and you're like, "Okay, you're not getting my money." But with people said that they were hungry, my dad would like get them in the car and be like, "Okay, let's go to a restaurant and I'll buy you food." And literally anything they could eat, he'll pay for. He's like, "You can order as much as you want as long as you eat it." And I always saw him do that, and that's something that as a grown up, I wanted to continue to do. So now that I have my own company, I decided that I wanted to figure out a way of helping, and the one thing that I wanted to help fight was food insecurity. I try to figure out a bunch of ways of being able to do it, but as a very small business, it's hard to actually make a big impact. So through my networking groups, I met a guy named John Durso, and he introduced me to Phil Abundance. And he knew the food acquisition director at Phil Abundance. And I got to talk to him, and we got a partnership, which, let me explain, like, there's no benefit for me as a business with the partnership. The only benefit goes to Phil Abundance, where for each bottle that I sell, I donate the equivalent of one meal to them. And then in return, they actually feed about 80,000 people a week in the greater Philadelphia area alone. So I teamed up with the bigger guy, and I'm helping fight insecurity while also providing people with a natural, healthy hot sauce.
Dude, that's amazing. I love that. I think that's another side of the business that people don't necessarily think about as well, right? Which is, like I said, the philanthropic side. And it's powerful to have that kind of cause behind it, right? And so you're able to do that and live into that value, and also extend the legacy of your dad at the same time. That's amazing, dude. Mm-hmm. So for you so far, what has been, what have you been able to contribute to Food Abundance? How many people have you been able to feed?
About 2,000 meals donated so far.
That's amazing.
If you think about it, it's a decent number. If you put it into like 3 meals a day for like a family of 4, we're talking about like 3 or 4 months of meals provided for a single family. It's like, and I know it doesn't sound like a lot when you put it like that, but it's a lot of help.
No, it does sound like a lot, though. Because you're changing that family's lives, all of them, an entire family, right? That family of 4, like, they're now eating where they weren't before. They weren't able to afford food or whatever, the challenges were for them. So you're able to change their lives, and that's more people out there who may one day turn around and be able to say, you know what, I want to be philanthropic. I want to start a company. I want to start another, I want to be like Radhi, you know what I mean? Like, mm-hmm. That's going to be something people might say at some point, like, I want to be like that guy, and start an amazing company.
That's nuts.
Yeah. But you're that guy now, man. You're the one starting a business. You're the one going out there changing the world, and one meal at a time. But 2,000 meals is nothing to sneeze at, dude. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So congratulations on that, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, brother. Anything else that you want to share that you think is important for people to know?
Nothing that comes to mind right now.
Awesome. All right. Well, listen. Thanks so much for coming on the show, man, and for talking about your experience. One day, I'm thinking about. I want to do a tasting, like a live tasting of the sauces, and that would be kind of cool to do something like that hot wings thing they have, the hot wings challenge.
Yes, hot ones.
That'd be hot.
You mean
ones,
this
man.
that I have like right in front of me?
There you go. Yeah, that exactly. We gotta do something like that. That'd be fun.
I'm gonna drive to DC. When I make La Muerte again, we're gonna get together and I'll bring the whole flight of sauce and we'll do it. A live stream with wings and sauce.
We'll get a group of people together and we'll do a video stream of like a bunch of people and just have them. Well, actually, we'll do like local business owners. We'll have them try it live on camera, and that'll be amazing. Let's do that.
Great
okay,
idea, yeah.
Everyone, you heard it here first. We're gonna do our own version of, we'll call it Muerte ones or something like that. I don't know what we're gonna say, right? So that way it's not, we don't want to copyright. We don't want to do like copyright infringement on anybody. So we'll do our own version of this and we will broadcast it live here. Radhi's gonna come down to DC. We're gonna make it happen. It's gonna be awesome. So if you guys do happen to like hot sauce, or even if you don't, talk to Radhi, check out FAIYA, try some hot sauce. See, you might maybe be part of the capsaicin crew going forward. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Might be worth it. All right, Radhi, thanks again so much, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And before I jump off, I just want to share. We do have the PS5 giveaway we're doing right now. If you guys are interested in that, there's going to be a link in the description. Check it out. Enter tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern. We're doing the drawing. So enter in before that. Get all your entries in there before that, so that way you don't miss it. Radhi, I know Radhi's already entered, so he's already in. So jump in there and do that. And if you like this video, hit the share button, hit the like button. Please support Radhi in his small business because he's doing amazing things, not just for himself and his family, but for 2,000 other families out there, which is phenomenal. So help him support those other families at least, and try some new hot sauce because it's awesome. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Drew.